right, thanks, fellas. We welcome you to the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. The Friars are at home trying to get to 4-1 on the conference season. They're at home against the St. John's Red Storm. And we welcome you courtside, everybody, along with Donnie Marshall, Jeff Levering with you. A little late-night Big East action on FS1 for you. For Providence, they're going to try and control the tempo of this one. They've got to rebound the basketball really well tonight. For St. John's, they want to play fast, and they want to steal the basketball from you.
Now, the way you set the tone when you're at home is you control the backboards, and obviously Ed Cooley has size, but more importantly, has a special guy in a senior, Alpha Diallo, averaging almost 9 rebounds a game. Really has a knack for where to be when that ball goes up. Swiss Army knife for Ed Cooley. On the other side, it has to be your helter-skelter, try to get up and down. LJ Figueroa, to me, is that guy who you can throw him on any team in the country, and he can give you something special. Going to need that if Mike Anderson's team on the road. Big East basketball, tough.
And trying to get win number 2 in conference plays. We'll take a look at our starting lineups. They're brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee and David Duke. 15 points his last time out. He's going to have a big night tonight for Providence.
Yeah, but he's done a great job of leading as a sophomore. Even Alpha Diallo will look to him when they huddle up after free throws or out of timeouts. On the other side, though, Rasheem Dunn. He's on fire the last 2 games. He forced Mike Anderson to change the lineup. That's what you want to do as a player. Make it hard for your coach to not play you.
And for Mike Anderson, now he's got a guy like Julian Champagny coming off the bench. He can relax a little bit. Extra weapon for the Johnnies as they try and get win number 2, as mentioned, in conference play. The Friars have been the surprise within the conference so far. 2 big road wins over the last week. One at DePaul, one at Marquette. False start. Now we play basketball here in Providence.
I always ask, why don't they get rid of the possession arrow and throw it up? Now I see why. Brian O'Connell can't even toss the ball up at half court.
Initial turnover, the travel by David Duke. You see Mike Anderson there in his first year in New York with St. John's after 8 years at Arkansas, with the NCAA tournament 3 different times, the Razorbacks. Matter of fact, his last win with Arkansas came in this building. And right on cue, as you talked about it, Rasheem Dunn.
Mike Anderson, as you said, he's just a matter-of-fact guy. There's no coach speak. He tells you exactly how it is. And I think in your first year, you have to do that. And now 2 turnovers. This is exactly what St. John's does to you. You got to take care of the ball.
And a 3 off the mark from Mustafa Heron, one of the 2 seniors on this roster, and they look to him to be a big-time leader in this game, too.
Jeff, doesn't even matter that they missed that shot. What matters is they know there's some weaknesses in what Providence is doing against pressure.
Khalif Young with an offensive rebound. Lawan Pipkins short on his shot. Here's Rutherford with a rebound.
Done a lot of Providence games. I love when they start low. Even if they don't score down low, they throw the ball inside to make the defense move.
Nice play inside by LJ Figueroa.
Because when they don't start inside, a long rebound comes off, and now St. John's comes down the other way with an easy basket. Hard to recover when you're scrambling.
St. John's, they want to get that basketball up quickly on the offensive end. 15 seconds per possession is all. Ed Cooley in his 9th season here in Providence. This program has been a well-oiled machine with him at the helm.
He really has adjusted well. You know, he's had some stars. Other years he hasn't, but he's always kept size. I think the best thing for Ed Cooley is, as you know, we'll talk about a couple players out, is that he trims down that rotation. I think he's more comfortable as a coach coaching 6 or 7 guys versus 11. Almost like a mad scientist. You got to get out of the lab, and you can't experience as much or experiment as much.
It's the 3rd turnover already, and a block on the inside by Gantz, making just his 3rd start of the season. Providence a little short-handed, as we mentioned just a moment ago. Holt is out with an ankle injury, and A.J. Reeves with a head injury is not available tonight either.
You know, Jeff, I think the important thing for Providence is just because you're open doesn't mean you have to shoot that first shot. Force St. John's to move a little bit. Get that ball to the 2nd and 3rd side of the floor, meaning shift sideline to sideline. Make the defense follow you.
Pipkins ran into trouble, and he is down on the far side. It's a 5-on-4 right now. Power play for the Friars. Alpha Diallo, wide open lane.
And LJ Figueroa never really got up after he went down on that baseline. Providence doing a great job of taking advantage for an easy bucket.
I've been popped in the nose. It's taken him a little bit of time to recover. He's still in the far corner. As Rutherford drives and rebounded That time by Duke. Fans get to have a seat after that dunk by Diallo. Last time they were here, it took them over 6 minutes to sit against Butler.
Well, that's a lot of pressure for the players. You know the fans want to sit down. They're trying. Sometimes they stand up longer than they were expecting to. They're a loyal, faithful crowd base here, though it always has been. Even when I played against these guys, these fans love, win, lose, or draw, they love their Friars.
Awfully gritty, and it was getting going early tonight, too, during shoot-around. As that is an air ball from Mustafa Heron.
It's a bad shot. I mean, it's a low-quality shot, long two. You're not really set. There's a defender in your face. Can't have that on the road.
Tapped out to the Johnnies. 2-point lead on the road. Got a victory against DePaul their last time out. And we will have an exchange of possession going over to the Friars as Malik White will check in for the first time, as well as Nate Watson. Watson, a big man, the junior. Malik White, where would this Providence team be without him coming off the bench recently?
Yeah, he's your microwave. Earlier in the season, I had a chance to talk to him out of practice, Malik, and he said he loves the role. You know, I think for a player of his caliber, one thing, being convinced that this is best for the team is the first thing, but then two, you get a chance to go in and kind of be that guy who can just score. I mean, you still have the same responsibilities, but the first responsibility is you scoring the ball and then get your guys going.
Averaging 12.5 in conference play as Pipkins got it knocked out of his hands, and it will stay with Providence. Again, Malik White, a senior from Richmond, Virginia. Non-conference, a non-factor. Different story in the Big East.
And that's from Coach Thomas. He loves those Virginia guys. Ivan Thomas doing a great job of finding those guys, bringing them up here to cold Providence. Malik White's a great example of that coming up from the VA.
Nate Watson pulls down an offensive rebound. This Providence team, if you don't box them out, they are going to eat you alive on the glass. Drive, and no finish that time, though, from Dunn.
Dunn does a terrific job of getting back to that strong hand. Sometimes you're a little bit too fast for your own good.
White pushed out of bounds. And it will stay with Providence. And again, it's a tie game here, 4-4.
Rasheem picking up where he left off the last two, scoring a ton of points, getting to that strong hand. And then this one, this is a business decision right there. You got to get out of the way.
Providence, Rhode Island, a 4-4 game at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, and kind of on point with St. John's. They're stealing the basketball already. They're one of the top teams, Donnie, in taking the basketball away from you. 4th in the NCAA with those 180 steals. They've been awesome with 10 a game. That's 5th in the NCAA, and they're taking on the persona of their head coach, Mike Anderson.
You know, when I compare steals to block shots, you may get a couple of steals just like block shots, and maybe you won't get any more after you'll get a flurry of them. But they're thinking about you. They're thinking about where you are. It's disruptive, and now you make the opponent uncomfortable, just like a block shot. So, but you got to be cautious, and now they're down. 2 fouls on Heron. Now you got to be a little bit more cautious. That fine line of staying aggressive, trying to get steals, and also staying in the game.
It's so massive to have those 2 fouls already on Mustafa Heron. One of your top scorers, averaging nearly 14 a game.
And listen, depth is overrated until you get into foul trouble.
And for a team that does not score a lot of points, especially in conference play, that's a big-time blow. Champagny right into the ball game and right on cue, knocks down a triple.
And a great situation for him. Now he's been, I wouldn't even say demoted. I think that's just a bad way to put it. When I've read a couple things the last few days that he's been sent to the bench. Listen, he's a freshman. He's got a clearer head now. That's what Mike Anderson told us before the game, Champagny, to just go out there and play free, coming out of that starting role.
Juan Pipkins off the heel. He's still trying to get his offense going. Since a double-figure game against DePaul, he's scored just 1 point in the last 2 games. Figueroa, deep 3.
That's a good contest by Pipkins. Understanding, listen, you challenge that shot late without fouling.
Malik White And he gives to Watson, who's going to go to the line. He got hammered on the inside. And Nate Watson to shoot 2.
And if you're Providence right now and you see what's on the floor for St. John's, it's a six and under league.
Yeah.
That's what's happening for St. John's. So that means you got to go inside. Watson, that big body, does a really good job of carving out space and really probably doesn't have to work that hard to get open down there because of the scrambling and the switching that St. John's does. If you just show up, if your guy goes to double or he goes to help, you follow that guy with your hands up, be a big target, your guards will find you.
Right now, tallest guy on the floor, Champagnie at 6'8". As Khalif Young checks back in for Watson to knock down a couple of free throws.
I walked past Champagnie when we were in the back there going to talk to Mike Anderson. I must have grown a couple of inches since I played if he's 6'8". Gotta be honest.
Looks good on paper. Champagnie looking for help, knocked away. David Duke unable to finish. Diallo's second opportunity. Champagnie right there to contest a couple of different times before the foul.
They just don't go away. They really do a terrific job, Providence, of trailing the ball. They have trust that David Duke's going to make this. But just in case he doesn't, we're going to show up. We're going to be there for you. Block shot, I don't care. Stay with it. Quick jump. That was Gann who kept that alive the second time for Diallo to come down with it and get fouled.
So now Diallo goes to the line. Leads the team in almost every statistical category as a senior. Had a nice game last time out with 21 in the loss against Butler, who fell against Seton Hall earlier today at Hinkle.
Seton Hall, impressive. Kevin Willard, I don't think there's enough being said about him and the job that he's doing. I understand he has Miles Powell, but who to me is the National Player of the Year, by the way. But even when Powell was hurt, he still got his team to compete. Remember, Mamukashvili is still out for them. I mean, he's playing around losses. Great job by Kevin Willard and the Pirates.
Great next man up mentality with Seton Hall. What a bear of the league. 8 to shoot for St. John's. Dunn drives, kicks, out of bounds. It's going to Providence. Nice defense that time by the Friars.
And that's one of the situations when you talk about Rasheem Dunn and what he's done over the last couple of games. His assists are up, but you got to throw it to where a teammate can catch it. That hit Champagnie in the shoelaces.
Well, last time out, they were really good at sharing the basketball. Had 23 assists on the 25 makes. Diallo had it altered.
Diallo was looking for some contact there.
Another steal, 5th turnover. Duke up ahead. Malik White.
David Duke is special. You know, we were speaking to the St. John staff, you and I, before the game, and he was shooting right in front of us. And his size, you know, he is 6'6", 6'6 and a half at that guard spot. Great length. Another guy who could play for any team in America and be special.
Still growing into that body, too, as just a sophomore. And the turnover leading to points and running fast break to perfection.
It's so hard as a young player to steal this ball and to give it up. It really is, because instinctively you want to go in. You just earned it. You stole it. Now I want to go finish. But he makes the right play. That's another part of what makes David Duke so special at such a young age. Just a sophomore.
Watson just picked up his first personal. There's Diallo to knock it away, but into the hands of Greg Williams Jr. Still plenty of time for St. John's. Got off to a quick and early lead, but Providence on a run.
I love this little zone Providence is in. I mean, when you're a team that can't score the ball, and then you see a zone being thrown at you, that's what happens. You lose side of the shot clock. You can't adjust. And Mike Anderson is saying that to his guys. It's right there. It never moves. Shot clock is right there.
Another great defensive possession that time by Providence. Starting to come alive in the physicality department. Diallo 3.
And that time he focused on making the shot. Might have gotten some contact, but he focused enough to make it.
Kelleher launches away. And Diallo, that's one part of his game this year that hasn't been as good as years past, is him shooting threes. And if he could pick that up, I mean, the sky's the limit for Diallo.
I mean, he's definitely a set shot, three-point shooter, not a off-the-dribble guy, but his balance has been terrific when he makes those shots. Straight up, straight down, never in a hurry.
It really is amazing watching him and his body control on the offensive and defensive end as he altered that shot as well. It's out of bounds, going to the Friars. Alpha Diallo starting to take charge here in Providence.
Well, his name fits him perfectly because it really does start with Alpha. Providence up early.
All right, thanks, Rob. Man, what an upset. Number 10, Kentucky goes down to the Gamecocks of South Carolina. What a crazy game as we've got a 5-point game here. Providence out in front, 12-7. And all these ranked teams and all the upsets this year, Donnie. Basketball is chaos.
Yeah, two things that come to mind. Coaches early on say, you know what, who cares about the rankings? It's just a number for the fans, probably for the media as well. But it does tell you that there is a lot of balance in college basketball. I mean, anyone could beat anyone any given night. And I think it's great for college basketball and the fans that you just never know. There's no shoe-in to who's going to win this thing at the end. It gives everyone, even those fans that are just casual college basketball fans, a reason to watch because your team, even though they might not be great or ranked, they could knock off a team that's at the top.
Everybody's got a shot.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so fun. You look at Ed Cooley and what he's going to try and do here. Again, you've got the foul issues. Mustafa Heron, he's on the bench with a couple of fouls already. They want to try and get more paint touches moving forward.
Yeah, just get inside. And the paint touches don't necessarily mean you got to score when you get in there. It means the defense collapses, and now you'll have those guys open on the perimeter. And if someone runs at them in a blue jersey, now you put it on the floor, get to the rim, but you can't have that. And the reason that happens is because you have a big guy, you know, some 35, 40 feet away from the basket. You're asking him to do something he's not comfortable doing. And Watson can handle it, pick it up, find a guard, but he's just not used to being that far away from the basket, and St. John smells blood in the water, if you will.
Providence caught a break as Gant with his jumper, no. Watson tried to keep it alive and tapped it over to St. John's.
Now, look, for St. John's, they only have 7 points, but Providence only has 12. They haven't really stretched this thing out either, so Mike Anderson has got to be telling his guys, listen, 1 or 2 good plays, smart plays, quality shots, we're right back in this thing and maybe taking a lead.
Saw St. John's just 1 for their last 8, and this has been a team in Big East play that has really struggled to score points.
And you wouldn't think that for a team that turns teams over so easily. You know, that whole idea about creating offense with your defense just hasn't happened for St. John's.
Erlington knocks down the jumper just outside the free throw line, helps out St. John's get back in the score column. That's
the weak spot, that free throw line area. You need a decision maker there or behind the zone along that baseline.
See the pressure from St. John's, trying to force those turnovers. One of the best teams in the country to do it.
And next thing you know, you look up, there's 10 seconds on the shot clock for Providence.
Diallo put his man on skates.
And balanced. He makes you fall off of him straight up, straight down. Great balance shot there.
Tapped away again. Another turnover by the Johnnies. Diallo then lost it on the other end. Erlington was there to poke it away. 12 total turnovers in this game. 7 by St. John's, 5 by Providence. Extra pass outside, and burying the 3 is Greg Williams Jr.
Baseline, you get that ball down near the hash mark, if you will. That's that hash mark is just about 3 feet outside of the key. And then you find a guy, because it's 2-on-1 in that situation.
St. John's going to that zone. Duke kicks it out to Diallo, baseline jumper.
That's one of the toughest shots in basketball, that 10 to 13-foot jumper along the baseline. But he's, you know, a lot of people say that that's just, you know, it's not an efficient, longer twos. But when you got guys who can't shoot threes, you need to have make shots.
Well, Jay Figueroa just knocked down his second three of the ball game. And that intermediate jumper is a finesse shot these days. It's kind of lost in basketball.
Yeah, I love it. Depends on who you talk to. They say the mid-range jumper is a lost art, and then other people say it's a bad shot. You'd rather take threes instead of twos, you know, from some 15 to 19 feet, if you will. But for a guy like Alpha Diallo, I just think he's comfortable in that area more than he is from behind the arc.
Gant comes in as Diallo heads out. You see some of the repertoire from Alpha.
Yeah, analytically speaking, if you talk about, like our guy Steve Lavin says, the math, the data, it's just not a high percentage shot. But for Diallo, he has perfected it over his career.
It's interesting when you look at basketball in general. It's nice block by Watson on the inside. Analytics, it's an interesting topic as White transition three and an air ball. And a reset. Pipkins now three. And down in the Johnnies moving the other way. It's not like the other sports, football, baseball, analytics. It's tough in basketball to try and get into that. Williams buries another three. The lead back to the juniors.
We'll say analytics can't tell you how fast the guy's heart is racing at the end of the game when he's got to make a couple of free throws, or what's going on in that locker room at halftime, and you know you got to start playing. Nothing about the math can tell you what's going on inside a guy's heart and in his mind.
Watson, nice feed inside.
And just look how small St. John's is. It has to be a steady diet with this game tied at 18 for Providence to go inside.
Williams nearly had it knocked away, looking for help. Everybody running away from him.
Baseline is the weak spot, or at the Big East logo in the paint there.
Dunn penetrates, and his mid-range jumper, nothing but glass. Numbers, Malik White lays it up and in.
Really a terrific push there. And again, St. John's is, as much as they've created turnovers, they've turned the ball over 8 times themselves. And Providence taking advantage at home, the energy right now, and the momentum starting to go their way, even though it's a close game. St. John's not going anywhere, but you got to go inside to the big boy. Got a good one, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Two-point lead for the Friars here at home against St. John's, and Mike Anderson imploring his team in the huddle to take care of the basketball.
One of the things I say you got to do, you got to value the basketball. Settle down, okay? You're having way too many turnovers, unforced turnovers. You throw the ball, hey, all you do is throw it to him, he'll catch it, correct?
Sometimes you just got to tell it like it is, just the basics, simple. You have way too many turnovers. Throw it to him, he'll catch it. I mean, that's the key, right? You know, throw it to the guys who have the same outfit on that you have on.
Yep.
That's how it works, especially on the road. And can't talk enough about the job, the hire, first of all, St. John's, but the job that Mike Anderson has done. When you inherit something, good, bad, or indifferent, you don't know what you're walking into. You know it's a great historical situation at St. John's, but you know, you come from the South. Everyone thought, hey, he's coming to New York. How's he going to recruit? He was at Arkansas and so on and so forth. If you know basketball, you can go anywhere in the world and be, if you're a good coach and you understand it, and do that job. And he's done that so far at St. John's.
He brought some great guys with him, including a great Big East former Providence coach, Steve DeMayo.
Yeah.
He's on his staff, was in the junior college ranks for the last few years, but he was here at Providence for 10 seasons.
Yeah. Tim Welsh had a nice little run.
St. John's forcing their own turnover this time. See if they can turn it into points. They turned the ball over 19 times in that win last time out. Williams converts.
That's just too easy. When the offense comes to you, you got to go to him and meet him and make him go a different direction.
Breaking the press, 2-on-1, White. Tough shot, better defense that time by Herron, who's gone on the floor with those 2 fouls.
I don't think you needed the double clutch, though. I think you just go up strong and you lay it up instead of trying to draw the contact.
Duke all alone. And then L.J. Figueroa out of nowhere chasing him down. Gant will check in for Lawan Pipkins. Duke was all by himself for highlight time.
And when we talk about doing a good job, you know, what Mike Anderson has done, this is hard to get guys to do, to buy in, to continue to play hard. You know, you've been taught so much from so many coaches you've had, but L.J. Figueroa running that ball down. He knows it's a tie game. It was a tie game. You got a shot.
Alpha Diallo already in double figures now with 13 points, carrying this Friars offense. Into Sears, and Diallo with the help defense, but he fouled him.
Ball gets to the high post. Defense has to react. You find a guy down low. I mean, that's how you, unless you're playing against a Syracuse-type team, University of Washington, those teams that really have that zone down pat. You know, this isn't a Providence team that runs it a lot, so they're recovering late. Communication has to be there. That ball goes to the high post. I got to tell you, Jeff, you got him, I drop back. That's what they're lacking right now, and a lot of that is turning into affecting their offense. 32% right now for Providence.
Sears at the line shooting a couple. He's a 50% free throw shooter on the year. That's exactly what he did at the line.
But you don't get stops as easily as you want on the defensive end. You try to chase easy baskets on offense, and that's why you struggle shooting-wise right now for Providence.
Going to the rack and a chance for a three-point play.
But even that, the balance was off. There were 2 guys on the same side of the floor. They got lucky there because Gant's athleticism and just said, I'm putting my head down, but he has a teammate who was left. I mean, those guys are going to run into each other. Spacing has to be better for Providence. This last 5 minutes, I'm sure that's something Ed Cooley will address at halftime. You look up, you got 5 turnovers, yeah, but it's still a close game.
And again, the depth from Providence may be tested today with no Emmett Holt and no A.J. Reeves available with injuries. Smaller rotation, more minutes for these guys that are on the floor. Figueroa penetrating. And Providence, good stand in the paint.
Man, they get after that ball. I mean, they see that thing loose, it's theirs. They really hunt that ball down on both ends of the floor rebounding-wise, Providence.
Taking that directive right from their head coach, Ed Cooley. Loves the scrappy players. You can't play for Ed Cooley and not be tough.
That is well said. Couldn't agree with you more.
Figueroa, again, top of the key. Short chases his own rebound, but it's off of him going to the Friars. Figueroa to this point with those 5 points, a couple of rebounds. Mustafa Herron in foul trouble. Diallo leading the way with 13.
And out of some 353 Division I teams in college basketball, St. John's is ranked 332nd in three-point percentage. So when L.J. Figueroa shot that, he knew immediately that it was off and chased it down. Couldn't come up with it.
Came in at 29%.
Man.
Time winding down. Watson.
Got to take your time, big fella. I understand there's a little guy behind you, mouse in the house. Take your time. Go up strong.
Under 3.5 to play in this first half. Into the corner, Figueroa. And Malik White with a weak side rebound. And a pull-up jumper. Watson there, pulled down another offensive rebound, but had it stripped away. And done on the reverse.
I don't care for the shot. I think if you probe a little bit, you probably get some easier. Again, it's the size. You got to go inside a little bit and hope that Watson's going to make the right play.
A kick violation. Providence going to have the basketball, but Alpha Diallo off to a good start in this first half.
Well, he's leading his team. He's at home. He understands you're running out of these games as a senior. You got to make them count.
Thanks so much, Rob. It's a 3-point lead right now for Providence at home, and half the points being scored by their senior leader, Alpha Diallo, off to a great start, 13, and nothing new for him against St. John's.
Got off to a good start with this dunk. Instead of shooting jump shots early, here, nice little usage of the screen, and then he and Rutherford, these guys are tied for first in the Big East in steals. He says, get off me with that left arm, the chicken wing. Stop and pop, and then there again from three. I really believe he's one of those players that gets an early layup or a dunk. Just mentally, the basket gets bigger, and psychologically, you feel better about your game offensively. Instead of chasing jump shots, you get some easy ones, and now everything that comes out of your hand feels like it's going to go in.
Against St. John's, you saw the numbers. He's only lost one time to the Johnnies in his career. Got to go back to his freshman year. Providence has won the last 5 in this series, which is meeting for the 115th time between these two programs. Part of the original Big East.
He and Nick Rutherford are going at it a little bit. Like I mentioned, they both tied for first coming into this game in steals per game at about just over 2.
Diallo drives. With cat and mouse inside, there's Gant again.
But all set up because of the drive by Diallo, giving his opportunity, his teammates an opportunity to get those offensive rebounds, which they're very good at.
8 of them already of their 22 total rebounds on the offensive side. Rutherford, the southpaw, short. There's Khalif Young. 5-point lead for Providence. Open look, Malik White. Largest lead of the game for the Friars.
St. John's just a step slow on those ball reversals, allowing Providence to be very comfortable from 3-point range.
We thought maybe St. John's would try and speed up Providence a little bit with their tempo. If this game gets into a half-court situation, it definitely favors Providence. We haven't seen a lot of St. John's dictating their own tempo. Going around the edge, Dunn got it blocked by Young with a foul. And go back to that rotation we're talking about, and St. John's just being a little slow in the rotation.
Yeah, here Carragher has to guard too, but then, I mean, that's just a late contest. Malik White was already elevated, letting that ball go before the defender was running at him. And that ball only went about 12 feet. It's not like it swung across from a wing to a corner. You got to do better defensively.
Sunday with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. Aaron Rodgers leads the Packers against Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. NFC Championship presented by Intuit TurboTax kicks off Sunday at 6 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Should be a fun one coming up this weekend. Providence trying to finish this first half strong. St. John's trying to get a couple of stops and get themselves back into this one, trailing by 7, under a minute and a half to play.
And Mike Anderson before the game said, we got to make shots. I mean, it sounds obvious, but for more reasons than one. You make shots, obviously, you feel good about yourself, but then you get a chance to set up your full court pressure. It's hard to press when you've missed and the team's running the ball back down your throat, trying to find a guy to defend.
Under a minute now. Dunn. Not 10 to shoot. White's done a nice job on Figueroa. Deep 3 by Figueroa. Short offensive rebound. They couldn't finish. Tap it back out. 8 seconds between shot clock and game clock. Rutherford. Young pulls it away. White with numbers. And the alley-oop. A little short on the pass to David Duke.
Look, I don't know if there's an issue with that. I know Ed Cooley didn't like it. Maybe he didn't like the miss, but players do this all the time. If you're David Duke, you got to go catch it with 2 hands. You try to add a little bit too much flair with the one, but you got to catch it first.
Take a quick timeout here in Providence. Friars up by 7. (31-24) Friars here at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. St. John's with 29 seconds left, and they can play for the last shot here, Donnie, and trying to get this thing closer.
Well, their problem has been just making the right play for the highest quality shot at St. John's. But you got to give credit to Providence. They've stayed in this 2-3 zone, which has really disrupted St. John's and made them uncomfortable. They've had some success. The free throw line along the baseline, but St. John's has been trying to beat Providence over the top. Can't have much success with that, especially the length that Providence plays with defensively.
St. John's even shooting better than their season percentage in terms of their threes, but now Dunn trying to facilitate, goes up and under. Nice move by Rasheem Dunn with 3.5 seconds to go, and Ed Cooley calls a timeout.
The only way that works is because the defense is extended so far away.
Step aside, and again, Rasheem Dunn penetrating the defense, get an easy couple. 5-point lead for Providence. Big East Conference standings. We had the big win today for Seton Hall over Butler, but this thing is going to be crazy. This DePaul team, it feels like, should not be 0-4.
Now, they have a couple of NBA players on that team, and Dave Lato, this is the best team that he's had since he's been there.
Final shot, Malik White, short on his half-court heave, and Providence will take a 5-point lead into the locker rooms.
Listen, if you're Mike Anderson, you're like, you know what, we're okay. We can fix some things. On the other side, Ed Cooley's like, come on, guys. We got to stretch this thing out. What's happening?
It's 31-26, Providence out in front. Coming up next, Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report. Rob Stone, Steve Lavin, standing by in L.A. Nice pickup game in between our halves here. St. Rocco's and St. Mary's here in Providence. A 5-point lead for the home team, the Friars, against St. John's. I think Donnie Marshall had St. Rocco's win, and I had St. Mary's.
First of all, I thought you were talking about the game when your first statement, an old pickup game happening here.
This feels like an old pickup game, right? In your old Big East.
Knockdown, drag out. I mean, it's not the prettiest, and it really is one of those games where whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this game. Now, there may be a lot of mistakes, but whoever can make one less. Look, both teams right now, they're searching for scoring. They're searching for ways to turn their good defense into some offense. Eddie Cooley has to tell his guys, listen, we got to be better when we get a steal and when we stop guys in that zone going down, finding quality, high percentage shots. St. John's right now, not that you're happy to be down 5 points, but you got to be happy you're down 5 points on the road this time of year.
Yeah, very fortunate to be down 5, no doubt about it, as you take a look at our Jeep Grand Cherokee stat comparison. And one thing that St. John's has really been good at over the course of the season is offensive rebounding. They had just 2 in the first half. Providence dominated in that statistical category.
And remember, Mustafa Heron was plagued with 2 fouls in that half. Really didn't play a ton, 9 minutes. This maybe bodes well for St. John's to get him back on the floor, and now just with 2 fouls can play more free.
Josh Roberts only played 5.5 minutes as well for St. John's. Heron just outside the free throw line and right on cue.
Yeah. And Mike Anderson has to be thinking about that. Now, you got to do the job and continue to keep your pressure on, but play intelligently. If you're St. John's, you can't allow silly fouls to happen this half.
First points of the game for the senior Heron. If you're Providence, Alpha Diallo has been the guy to go to offensively. Lawan Pipkins has been a ghost the last few games. Nothing so far tonight. Only 1 point in his last 2 games combined. Diallo, nice move. Now the jumper.
Yeah, he really loves that mid-range jump shot. Gets you in the air. The next guy steps up. That's a tough shot for Alpha.
15 for Alpha Diallo. Figueroa trying to drive on Gant. Forces the wild shot.
They're looking for the foul there. Knew he was out of position in the air. Didn't have much. I get a sense that Providence is trying to slow it down a little bit. No, look, his second possession, I get it, but I think they played at times too fast in that first half.
Pipkins forced a tough shot. He was scoreless in that first half. As was David Duke. David Duke doing a lot of different things. And it's out of bounds off of St. John's. That is turnover number 10 for St. John's. Again, Alpha Diallo, shot clock winding down.
Terrific patience, control, shot fake. Next guy steps up. It's good defense on the help, but it was too late once he elevated.
Trying to break this pressure is Providence, able to do so. I'm going to see that all night long from St. John's.
I think press breakers nowadays, within the last 10 years, they only have one layer. That layer is to not turn the ball over, whereas some 10, 15 years ago, there were two layers. Break the press without turning it over, and then get an easy basket. And the reason I say that is because Providence will try to break the pressure, but they're so bunched up and crowded, you can tell their only goal is to get the ball into the front court, in the allotted amount of time. And then now let's set up our offense, where I believe you should get your spacing against the team that gambles like St. John's does. Hit the wing, hit the middle. Now let's run some offense. Start your offense from in the backcourt. Don't wait until you get into the front court. Yeah, that's spoken like an old Big East guy. But that's how you get your easy opportunities.
The cheesy analogy. Keep peeling the layers off the onion, right?
That's it.
Don't be satisfied with just taking the outer layer.
Like Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah, layers.
Ooh, Heron is fouled, and a chance for a 4-point play for Mustafa Heron.
And already his impact is felt. Knocks down a mid-range jump shot. Comes back. Team's best three-point shooter. And knocks down that three with a chance for a fourth point here and to close this really to a one-possession game.
Diallo just picked up his second. I'm still thinking about your ogres are like onions.
They have layers.
They have layers.
And they stink. Let's just say it's twofold there. Onions.
It's not raftery onions.
No.
Those
Much
are the good
different.
ones.
Those are the good ones.
Diallo with Heron on him. And he's fouled. And Diallo's going to go to the line and shoot a couple. Heron just picked up his third.
You don't see it a lot in college basketball. But in the NBA, they will not give you this as a shooting foul. This is a rip-through move where they feel in the NBA that the foul happened when you were going from left to right. If you're a right-handed player, there is where the foul happened. There are no continuations in college, so I think that rule should be in effect for college as well. The foul was low when you go from left to right. Play's dead. They take a look. Rip, there's the foul. Should not be continuation. They don't do it in the NBA because so many guys are so good at that and have been for a long time, but college just hasn't gotten there yet.
It's a smart play by Diallo.
It is.
To go up with it.
Yeah, with all that being said, yes, it is a smart play, but that tells you he watches a lot of NBA basketball.
Yes, he does. He's going to be a good pro, whether it's here stateside or overseas somewhere.
Yeah.
Alpha Diallo's going to make a lot of money.
He is, I agree.
Figueroa, deep three. And Diallo pulls down another rebound. It's his third. 7 double-doubles on the year for Diallo. He's in double figures with the points already.
I don't know.
That in the first half.
I don't know if LJ's doing it to himself or you credit the Friars defense, but he's 2 of 8, 1 of 5 from 3. Pretty much, in my opinion, and I've seen him play a lot over his career at St. John's, settling. Really settling for those long jump shots. I think he's so good going to the basket.
Diallo ripping through again. Lost it on the way up. Khalif Young in a shot clock violation. No, they're going to reset the clock. Pipkins now, 3 short. Another offensive rebound. Gant, 3. Wow. St. John's cannot buy an offensive rebound. Now they've got numbers. Mustafa Heron with an offensive foul. That's number 4.
I tell you that the offensive rebounding is so special for Providence. But the way they retreat defensively and get back, and I know Lawan Pipkins has struggled a lot this season trying to figure out who he is for this Providence team. But one way you stay on the floor is you take charges. You get back defensively, get your feet set, take a charge. That's how you stay on the floor for Ed Cooley.
Now he's trapped and looking for help. Saw Heron go to the bench. He's been a spark offensively for this team as Duke drives. Everything but the bottom for Duke. And now numbers for St. John's. And they'll pull it back. And the 3, no, by Figueroa. Out to Pipkins. Oh, a bad pass. That is going to not make Ed Cooley happy.
You throw the ball ahead. Let your athlete go get it.
Providence at home up by 4. Trying to clean it up. 4-point lead for the Friars at the Dunkin' Donuts Center here in downtown Providence. And now we'll take a look at our academic ambition, sponsored by SoFi. Get your money right, all in one app. And it's David Duke, business management major, 3.1 GPA at the semester, wants to play professionally, work in sports business, and start a foundation in his hometown right here, Providence, for less fortunate youth. That looks like an old Donnie Marshall bio.
Listen, you can replace the name and the picture. Those were my aspirations, absolutely. The 3.1 might be debatable. It's done a good job. You know, I went to
your transcripts.
I went to a state school though, man. You know, he's at Catholic school. There's no comparison. Public school's much harder.
Providence, an outstanding academic
State schools are much harder, dog.
Just across the state line.
That's right.
That's all. Back to this one is St. John's. Keeping this one close, just a 4-point game. Shot clock winding down. Deep 3 by Figueroa.
Yeah. Figueroa is searching. He even looked back at his own bench. Usually you make a 3, you look at the other bench. He looked at his own, but he needed that. And next thing you know, this is what St. John's does. They gum it up. They're down 1.
2 out of 8 from beyond the arc now for Figueroa. They keep launching them. Sooner or later, they're going to fall. Gant. Got it knocked away. That's Rasheem Dunn. Figueroa. Short that time. Ends up in the hands of Roberts, and it's off of Roberts going to Providence, and they're fortunate.
I've seen more guys in this game try to grab the ball with one hand, whether it's an alley-oop or it's a rebound trying to go the other way. You got to secure that ball with 2 and then get going the other way. I mean, unless your hands are like Dr. J's or Michael Jordan's or Shaq's, you got to grab the ball with 2 hands.
Well, and Providence has to know this is St. John's to a T. They're always going to be scrapping away at that basketball, trying to take it away from them.
Yeah, so you got to be strong, secure with it. You don't have to be in a hurry. I know sometimes you look up at that score, you're working so hard and you're only up 1. Got to stay patient, especially at home. This crowd is waiting to erupt for some reason.
Pretty quiet.
Boy.
And Figueroa is fouled by Diallo.
It's hard, Jeff, it's hard to get your crowd into the game when you're turning the ball over and you're doing things that the other team's making you do. And credit to St. John's, that's how they play. That's how they survive. But Providence has to start to think, listen, or believe at least they're better than this at home.
We talked at the top of the broadcast about St. John's. If they want to win this game on the road, they have to dictate the tempo. Right now, they're doing this in this little stretch.
Look, I don't care. People say that was an ugly win. There's no such thing as ugly wins. A win is a win. To me, all wins are beautiful. And regardless of how St. John's or Providence wins this game, they're going to earn it. That is for sure.
Providence with a couple of one-point victories on their last road trip to Chicago and Marquette. A nice jumper by Dunn gives the Johnnies the lead. First lead since early on in the first half for St. John's. There's more pressure. Pipkins trying to get rid of it. And it's going to stay with Providence, fortunately.
Jeff, unless you have the hands the size of Shaq, you can't. Now, this is a great jump shot. Individual play, you need guys like that. But Luwan Pipkins right in front of our table here tried to throw that pass with one hand. You just can't have it. You got to value the basketball and understand your spacing and where your teammates are and not throw the ball to them, pass it. There's a difference between throwing and passing the ball.
Watson ran into a swarm of Red Storm. Another turnover. Providence, you saw, make that concerted effort going into the paint. You mentioned it earlier, Donnie. You don't necessarily have to score from the paint, but at least get it in there.
Yeah, you collapse the defense a little bit and try to find those open guys, but you have to take care of it first.
Loose ball. And finally finished by St. John's. That's Marcellus Earlington, and a timeout called by Ed Cooley. And the Red Storm are making a run.
And Ed Cooley's doing a great job of keeping his guys positive.
Here in downtown Providence, a 3-point deficit facing the Friars right now. St. John's making a nice run. We take a look around the rest of the conference today. Big night from Georgetown as they upset number 25 Creighton. Miles Powell leading Seton Hall over Butler with 29 points, and Marcus Howard doing his thing with 35.
Yeah, he's special. He really is. He's got a huge load on his shoulders for Woj, but Miles Powell continuing to me to be, you got to talk about him for National Player of the Year. Just such a special guy for Kevin Willard and Seton Hall.
It's a good team, and this conference, a couple of weeks in, by no means a done deal. This thing is going to be an absolute backyard brawl for the rest of this winter time up until tournament. And 18 seconds on the shot clock. 13-12 to go, and this crowd pretty subdued right now. Diallo driving, tough shot off the window. Count it.
And I mean, Eddie Cooley has to be one of the best, I call him special team play coaches, meaning out of bounds, underside out of bounds, with getting his guys to not just throw the ball in and to get it in play, but to run something out of those timeouts, out of the sideline, out of bounds. That was another really good play. Run for Alpha Diallo and the finish.
And 19 points and just basically ran up the back of Rasheem Dunn in the paint. Break the pressure, driving and blocking off the weak side. Providence with another block. White with a good feed to Pipkins. Corner three, had it blocked, but a whistle. And David Duke will go to the line. Got the foul on Greg Williams, and here it is.
Yeah, did a really good job of getting there, and then you got to let the player land. I mean, fouled him twice if we're keeping count on the wrist, and then didn't let him hit the floor without being underneath him.
And Duke has affected this ball game not necessarily with his scoring. All of his points have come from the foul line, but he's got 4 steals, 4 rebounds.
His energy has been great, his body language. Even when St. John's has come back, he's just one of those guys who is a gifted leader, David Duke. As a sophomore already, you can just see how guys pay attention to him when he talks, and they follow how he just pays attention to detail and how hard he plays, regardless of what his line may say in the box score.
He has learned a lot from Alpha Diallo in his 2 years here on campus. Poked away by Malik White, and a foul. Marcellus Earlington will pick up the personal. Frustrated with himself.
Well, you got to meet the pass. A lot of times you get into that zone, you're at the free throw line, and you just wait for it. The defense is trying to get to the ball before you, so that means you got to step up and meet the pass. You can't let it hit you in the numbers.
Already the 6th team foul for St. John's. Free throws the rest of the way for Providence. Not really their strong suit, but points nonetheless. And Dunn thought he had a turnover that time, but instead he'll pick up the foul. reached around Duke. And that is the 7th.
And that's another part, a special attribute of David Duke. I mean, he's 6'6", posting up, and he's a guard, posting up a smaller guard. And Dunn saying he put his arm up. Well, you're allowed to put your arm up. Now, if he hooks, that's a different story.
And Duke missed. There's a follow. Wow. Nate Watson. And now Duke picks up the personal. Dunn was going right after.
You have to box out. That's Champagnie is. They're going to show him that at practice tomorrow, and you're going to want to hide under your chair.
Yeah.
I mean, that just cannot happen on a free throw. Unacceptable.
Figueroa going baseline floater. Got the loose ball, and he's going to go to the line. Take a quick timeout here at Providence. Figueroa to the line when we come back. Got a good one at Providence. This one taking down Butler at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Alpha Diallo playing Alpha Dog today. 19 points for Providence. Look what the rest of the team has done, Donnie.
Yeah, I think Alpha's shot quality, his shot selection has been much better of late. And I think he understands. Listen, I'm a senior. I can take as many shots as I want, anytime I want, but that's really not the idea behind being the team's leader. You know, it's making sure you get the right shot for you and your teammates, and then ultimately getting the win, and he's shown that tonight.
Figueroa knocks down the first, making it a 4-point game. All told, both teams shooting under 40% from the floor as Figueroa knocks down a pair, starting to come alive here in the second half.
You got to handle the pressure. Again, you talk about how they're just breaking the press. I think there's a term, they're putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Your emphasis has to be on trying to get a basket, not just getting the ball over that middle line, and then this is what happens.
Try and make that backdoor pass. St. John's with a tip in from Williams.
Get your spacing, throw that ball in. Now someone get to the middle of the floor. Right now you have, you know, you guys are congested. They don't know where to be.
Pipkins with a transition three. I don't know if Ed Cooley loves it, or if he's looking for something better. It's a pretty good break right there.
I mean, you're open. You got to shoot it, but it may have been one of those, no. Yes, yes, you made it. But it's just, right now, it's just a Band-Aid. It's only covering what's happening when you're talking about breaking the press for Providence.
And Champagnie went up with it, tried to dribble, gets called for the travel. And Pipkins, who was scoreless on the night, hit a big three when his team needed it.
This is what the press does. It speeds you up. Now, this is sped up. He made the shot. Now, if that shot misses, St. John's is saying, yeah, we did what we're supposed to do. But just like, you know, Mike Anderson said to us before the game, we have to make open shots. Ed Cooley's telling us they're stressing the same thing on that side.
Gant driving. Fancy. Freshman Greg Gant.
Oh, he's going to be a good one. Ed Cooley loves him. A lot of upside, terrific potential, great body.
Super athletic.
Communicates. I love young guys that talk, and tells me they understand, you know, what their goals are defensively.
Inside look, and Champagnie top of Watson. 5 for Champagnie off the bench.
Now that's different pressure. That's not trapping. That's where you just get the ball over and now you get into your stuff. That's a good job by Duke.
Duke looking for help. Pipkins thought he was feeling it, missed the shot. He's the kind of guy that can go in those spurts and knock down 4 or 5 in a row for you.
Yeah, I didn't see Ed Cooley. He didn't flutter at all. He was okay with that.
And we'll get a whistle. And Pipkins the kind of guy who's put up 44 in a game back in his time in the Minutemen at UMass.
Yeah, he scored some big points against Providence, and I think that was part of the reason why Ed Cooley said, listen, that grad year, come here. You could, those times you scorched us, would you help us out?
Chicago kid.
I still think he's had a hard time trying to figure out who he really is for this team instead of just being himself, you know, being that scorer, trying to fit in a little bit. And that happens with guys who are only 1 year in that grad year, and they want to make everyone happy and make the most of it.
It's a tough transition for some guys going to different programs.
It really is.
White steps into a three. And it's out of bounds. Going to stay with Providence. Went off the hands of Greg Williams.
I got to tell you, I don't know why with Heron with 4 fouls, Watson had him down low in a mismatch. Why you don't, that's recognition. Throw the ball downstairs, and you never know what happens. That's one less guy you got to worry about if Heron picks up that 5th.
Check Rutherford back onto the floor. He's been quiet. Malik White driving and a whistle. And they'll get Earlington on the foul. A couple of shots.
I like this on the swing to the corner. That's when you attack. Yeah, that's an easy one. Hit him in the head.
Right there with the elbow, bicep area, right on the top of the head of Malik White. 3rd foul from Marcellus Earlington. One of only a couple of carryovers from last year's St. John's team. As White was the first.
And the guys not named Heron or Figueroa didn't play a ton since they've been at St. John's coming into this season. So a lot of these guys, this is uncharted waters for them under Mike Anderson.
Earlington played a total of 59 minutes last year. White, 1 out of 2. 5-point lead for Providence. White with 8 points off the bench. Averaging nearly 12.5 in conference play.
Great job getting back into that zone. And Earlington has to be big and meet the ball if he's going to catch it at that foul line. I'd love to see St. John's get this guy involved.
Heron driving on Young, and he's going to go to the line. Heron's been a different guy in the second half.
Now listen, he's got 4 fouls, and you never know what's going to happen at the other end, so you got to use him. You know, that's just a terrific matchup for him, putting the ball down and going at a bigger, slower player.
It's a guy who's got a 30-point night in him. Did it earlier this year against Central Connecticut State. Senior from Waterbury, Connecticut.
Brass City. I had a chance to talk to him before the game, and I mentioned to him that a good friend of mine, Ryan Gomes, who played here at Providence, said he's the best player out of Waterbury. Mustafa was like, I don't know about all that. Well, you know what that's all about. The opposing player misses 2 in a row. Everyone in the building's getting Chick-fil-A. They must love some Chick-fil-A here in Providence because they were loud. That's the loudest they've been all game. What's up with these fans? They love their chicken more than their fryers?
It's kind of crazy. Malik White couldn't finish it. Contested up at the rim. Chicken's in the fryer.
That's it.
Duke knocked away out of bounds, and it'll stay with said Friars. Step aside for just a moment. Greg Gant, the freshman. Nice play underneath.
Hey, he's going to be special. Great recognition. A little athleticism. 4-point game. Saying it is, listen, the iPhone, sliced bread, the Hypervolt.
Don't leave home without it. This is unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Life changer.
Yes, without question.
Just don't surprise me.
This is for an old guy like me.
No.
Yeah, I snuck up on you with it. Sorry about that.
You did.
Jolted you right out of your chair. We got to put some weight on you, man.
I
Some
know.
meat on those bones.
Oh, man, it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah, the one that you surprised me on was the calf. You blasted me on the calf.
Your calves can get more knotted than you would expect, man. Got to take care of your body here, Jeff. I can tell you.
Right on the inside, the follow, good. No problems there. The calf and the lift from Khalif Young. See that transition right there?
That's a pro. You're a pro, but that's a great job out of the timeout by both teams. Listen, don't get your head down because Providence made a basket. Go down and attack and get an easy basket yourself. I feel the teams have settled in a little bit over the last 5-8 minutes. The pace is slowed. And Providence is, again, those shots right there I think you can get at any point. They're good if they go, but this around that 6-7 minute mark is where you really got to put the pressure on the officials. Put your head down unless you have a wide open shot. Make them call something.
And Young got hooked from the backside by Erlington. Free throws coming for Providence. And neither team shooting at a very high percentage. As Erlington just picked up his fourth. And Providence just 4 for 16 from three-point range, 34% overall in the game. But they are controlling the tempo, especially in the offensive end.
Now, free throw shooting is, they talk about, three-point shooting being down this season, and whether it's from the three-point line being moved out a little bit or just the thought of it being further. I'm not sure what it is quite yet, but free throw shooting as well. There are a lot of teams this season that have some really good shooters. They shoot the ball well from the field that just really struggle at the foul line. And a lot of times it becomes more mental than it is, mechanical.
With that three-point line being extended, you talk to a lot of coaches, you talk to a lot of players, too, about it. It's kind of the grand equalizer. It's Henry had it blocked by Gant. If you were a good three-point shooter before, you're kind of still a good three-point shooter.
Right.
Turns the pretenders into pretenders.
And again, it may just be the thought of it being deeper that gets in guys' heads.
Pipkins, nice give and go.
That's Khalif Young, heads-up play. And Pipkins with the quickness. Get himself right to the front of that rim.
7-point lead for the Friars. Right around 6 minutes to go in the game and a timeout called by St. John's.
Yeah, breakdown here defensively for St. John's. The communication, well, you go for the shot fake, then you don't get back in the play. You come in a little bit too late on that weak side. And that was Heron. He didn't want to pick up his fifth, so he could only help so much.
We talked about this series and how Providence has won the last 5, and it's not really close games either. They've been in dominant fashion with which Providence has won. Point discrepancy of 14 there. Totally out shooting St. John's too. We mentioned Alpha Diallo's only lost to this team 1 time. It was the first meeting ever.
And really probably didn't have much say in that loss, you know. So, but I love that he's had a really good game. Look at him, he's trying to lead there. I talked to him before the game a little bit. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, when you're a senior, you're running out of those games, especially at home, to be there for your team and win.
Well, the reason he's on the bench right now, not because of his production here, 19 points, he's got 4 fouls.
Yeah.
And Ed Cooley knows that if this thing's tight going down the stretch, you got to be ready. Go inside, nice play that time by Julian Champagny. Cuts to a 5-point lead. Good play coming out of the timeout from Mike Anderson.
Providence not going to be in a hurry here, but quality shot is what you need.
Pipkins 3. And St. John's going the other way. Chance to cut into this deficit again. Feels like St. John's, we talked about how quickly they get shots up.
Right.
15 seconds usually.
Yeah.
One of the top teams in the country right at that 15-second mark is Figueroa. Loose ball. Another 3. Williams. Short. Figueroa. Back up with it.
When you talk about the rebounding for St. John's, coming into tonight's game, for Providence, St. John's is the #1 team in offensive rebounding, the Big East, so they know what they're doing as well. Those little guards, they sneak in, you lose sight of them, you can't find the body, that's what happens.
They just doubled their offensive rebound total in the game on that one possession. They've got 4 now. And Diallo's about ready to check in. From the baseline, and White threw it right off the bottom of the rim.
Yeah, Ed Cooley can't wait much longer to get Alpha Diallo back in this game. You got to trust that he can play with 4 fouls this last 4 minutes or so.
Big miss by Figueroa. He had a good look. Not hanging his head on the other end of the floor, but that was the shot. Four minutes to go. Pipkins, baseline. Oh! Khalif Young.
It all happens because of the help. A couple guys go try to block the shot. Another heads-up play by Khalif Young. Saw the give and go a few minutes ago, and now the finish.
Second putback dunk we've seen from Providence. The other on a missed free throw. Deep three, Figueroa.
2 of 13. At some point, you got to think this might not be my night from back here. You got to find other ways to create scoring for yourself in a game like this or your teammates.
Duke knifing through. He's going to go to the line. Couple of free throws coming. Khalif Young rattling the rim.
Doing a great job of following this up. Young man out of Ontario getting this crowd into it late.
You go straight to your closer.
He calms everything down, along with giving you buckets. He's been tested in Big East games throughout his career, so this is the situation you have. Young fella, look, you're in foul trouble, but we need you. You got to stay aggressive. You got to make the right play for yourself and your teammates and win this thing for us.
On the other end for St. John's, Mustafa Heron. He's been on the bench for a lot of this game. He's only played 16 minutes. He's been in foul trouble all night long. And still not on the floor. So if you're St. John's, who are you going to try and score your points and get yourself back into this one?
Look, Figueroa, again, I've been in games with teammates who have gone 0 for 9 from 3 and then made the big one when you needed it. But, Figueroa has to make the right decision if you have a teammate. I think this is the quickest team on the floor for St. John's. And maybe the best pressing team. And, those two guys are huge for the way they finish. I don't think we've seen all or the rest of Aaron for the night.
Mike Anderson going to pick his situations, bring him in with 3 minutes to go here in Providence. 6-point lead for the Friars, trying to get win number 4 in conference. Trying to drive in a wild shot, and Dunn got tripped. So he'll go to the line for 1 and 1. And they'll get Duke with the personal. Just his second. Remember, this Providence team is playing undermanned as well. Emmett Holt unavailable today with a ankle injury. A.J. Reeves with a head injury. So they're only playing with 7 guys.
I really believe depth is so overrated. When you have a shortened rotation, I think as a coach, you're more confident to go with those 5 or 6 guys, and you just go with them. There's no second guessing. They understand how much they're going to play, when they're going to play. And you get that thing down to 10 or 11, you're just trying different things out, and that's not always the best recipe, especially at this point in Big East play. In any conference around the country, I think you got to have a shortened bench so guys have confidence in when they're playing and how much they're playing, and just go with it.
See Providence run their offense here. Looking to get it inside. Khalif Young into the paint. Left hand. Diallo tried to keep it alive out of bounds off of Providence. Chance there for an offensive rebound, but off the leg.
Well, that's unfortunate. Diallo was right there among 3 blue jerseys.
One of the best offensive rebounders in this conference.
And at 6'6". You don't have to be big to be a good rebounder.
Dunn had it knocked away. Shot clock winding down, and a walk from Rasheem Dunn.
He's trying to do a little bit too much. And there you can read lips. Pass the ball. And I don't know why you're picking the ball up right there. Gant was there, but you're quicker if you're done.
Under 2 minutes to play. Malik Young is on the floor for Providence. Very light pressure from St. John's. Down by 4. Forcing a turnover. Figueroa's fouled. And Figueroa's going to shoot free throws. A little loose at the basketball that time by Pipkins.
Guys are getting tired physically and mentally. That just can't happen, especially to your grad transfer. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been in a lot of games. That's just Duke diving on the floor trying to save that possession. But you gotta look. There needs to be more emphasis put on valuing the basketball, not when you get into conference tournament play or NCAA tournament, but all season long. A lot of games come down to one possession.
Big miss, but the offensive rebound, and we mentioned the steals. Double digits again for St. John's. Done. And it's right off the foot of Watson. With 10 seconds on the shot clock, they'll reset it to 20. And 5th straight game within the conference with 10+ steals. Longest active streak in the NCAA. Khalif Young checks in for Nate Watson.
Still no Heron.
You wonder when Mike Anderson's going to call his number.
Well, as we get close to 90 seconds of play, to me it's not when, it's if.
Wow. Acrobatic finish by Erlington, and he's going to go to the line for a 3-point play the hard way.
Using that strength. And Khalif Young just checked in the game, and this is what he's met with. 2 strong guys right there.
Erlington at 55% on the season. Chance to bring it to within 1. Johnny's trying to pick up their 2nd win in conference play. And a big miss, still 1 possession game. If you're Providence, you got to feed through Diallo here, right?
Yeah, I think when you get down, you know, to under 10, somewhere in there, you have to find your go-to guy. For St. John's, you don't want it in his hands.
There he goes to work. Out of bounds off of St. John's with 5 seconds on the shot clock, 57 seconds to go.
And you have to believe that Diallo, even if he's not scoring, he's going to make the right play. That's why that ball gets to him when that shot clock gets down.
They have Malik White inbound. And now they're going to go to the replay monitors just to double check and see who the ball was off. 2 minutes to play. You can go to the replay monitor, get it right.
It's a tough one there. Figueroa's arm, possibly, but Watson was near him. I think this is
there's some fingers involved there. You got to have, again, irrefutable video evidence.
Yeah, that looks like a wrist of Figueroa to me. Diallo gets out of the way here, but listen, I know it's late. Refs did a good job that first half. Only 8 fouls called in that first half, but you want to get this right.
Yeah.
This is the right play. I think they've done a great job this season of not continuing to go over to that monitor, helping the pace of play, but this is when it's most important.
It's a big possession here, and you see the graphic. When St. John's scores 70 points, that's usually their big indicator, 12-0, but when they don't get to 70, they're 0-5, and a long way to go to get to 70 right now, trying to get 1 in that column. Again, just a one-possession ball game. And if they get a stop here with 5 seconds on the shot clock, you got all kinds of time.
Yeah.
Take a look at this again. Is there enough to overturn it? That's the big question.
Right. I think it's also interesting, you know, as this game has been just a grinded out, you know, knockdown, drag out game. Providence, they're 4-1 in games decided by 4 points or fewer this season. And here we are. I mean, you're down to the nitty gritty. They've found a way to win these close games late.
And it's going to stay with Providence. Just don't think that there was enough to try and overturn that thing. The call stands on the floor. And they've won a lot of these close games in conference play, too. They blew out Georgetown, but 1-point wins.
I mean, and the yellow font is what you want to look at. Last year, 2-3, so they found out how to win those close games, and they've done a really good job of it. Can they continue that?
Pipkins with the shot clock, winding down the fadeaway from LaJuan Pipkins. Big shot in a big moment.
Your veterans got to step up, and that's exactly what Pipkins does. Now you got to get a stop here if you're Providence.
Figueroa. Offensive rebound. Done into the corner, and that's Erlington. Knocks down the mid-range jumper. Back to a 2-point game.
I like that. Figueroa, listen, you don't need a 3 there. He's fortunate that Champagnie got that ball back. They got another opportunity, but this is awesome. A little pivot and fall away to create some space. A lot of ways to create space on your jumper. Take a look, top of your screen. 3, 2, lets it go 1. That is awesome by Pipkins.
And the other end, again, Erlington.
If I'm LJ Figueroa, I'm going right over to Erlington to say thank you, because he can't buy a basket tonight from 3. He's only hit 2, and he's taken 15 of them. These are one of those games where you got to thank your teammates for those extra effort plays. Champagnie and Erlington there for St. John's.
So now you're going to see a ton of pressure from St. John's. Try and force a steal. Both teams in double bonus. Free throw line. If they go there, 2 shots guaranteed. And this is where Mike Anderson wants his opponents, right? So you're down by 2. You got plenty of time. And you got your defense. Put it on your defense.
And if you're Providence, just spacing important. The other thing, meet the basketball, because you know the defense is going to steal it. You have to meet the pass and be secure with it. You don't need to dribble through this pressure, but your spacing is very important.
2 timeouts for the Friars, 1 for St. John's. Diallo can run with the basketball after the made field goal. They get it to Duke. And Duke will go to the free throw line. 81% on the season. That's the guy you want going to the line.
Yes, especially when you're a team that shoots 66 from the line. Providence, this is the right guy to have there. Again, these are those moments for a sophomore that can show his leadership and how he has just a great feel for trying to win games. I mean, you know, you're at the line, you got a chance now. Listen, you missed that when you put it behind you. Turn this into a 3-point game.
14 out of 21 today for Providence. All of Duke's points today have come from the foul line. 6 out of 9. 5-second differential, and he had that one go in for him. Soft rim.
Yeah, defend without fouling if you're Providence. I think you gotta go here, and you're gonna need a three.
And a timeout, the last one by St. John's with 10.5 seconds to go, and Mike Anderson wants to try and set something up here. And if you're Mike, where are you going?
I like it. Nobody was moving. Hey, you know, guys were standing still. I think he was going to let them play it out and try to create something for themselves, but he was forced by his players to call a timeout because guys were standing still. Feet were stuck in mud. I like this situation better, though. He is a terrific play caller out of timeouts. And at this point in the game, look, you got to go with the best available, but you'd love to see something, some down screens and then popping up or even to the corners. With St. John's, you just don't know. I mean, it really, anybody who catches it has an opportunity to take the shot. It's not like a lot of teams that you know exactly where shots are coming from. That's what makes them scary. You don't know where this three is going to come from based on who he has on the floor.
And Mustafa Heron just sprinted to the table to check himself in. He has been a non-factor the last 5 minutes, and we were curious when his number was going to be called, maybe right now.
Yeah, I think he gives you another option. I would be surprised if the play was called for him after sitting on the bench as long as he has. It just gives you another threat out on the floor if the play is broken.
Providence ready to go on the defensive end. Yeah, St. John's puts the finishing touches on their offensive play. There is Mustafa Heron, riddled with foul trouble all night long.
See, I think this is a situation where I'm of the school that when they get into the play, you got to foul. I don't think this team, there are some wild cards, and L.J. Figueroa, after his struggles tonight, he would be the one to make a three. I think you got to foul, and maybe Eddie Cooley's talking about that right now.
He had an extra timeout to burn. He's got one left. So he's going to talk about his defense as we take a look at what's upcoming for the Providence Friars. You got 3 games on the road at Creighton, at Seton Hall, and all against ranked teams the next 5. How about that gauntlet?
I mean, that's just what it is. Yep. That's conference play. Big 10 can say the same. Big 12, SEC. I mean, this is what college basketball is. Well, that's what also gets you prepared if you have an opportunity to play postseason basketball. These grinded out, tough parts of the schedule.
St. John's will go back home, take on Seton Hall, then come back to the Midwest with Marquette and DePaul, followed by Villanova and Georgetown. This is a big game for St. John's. You lose, you're 1-4. For Providence, you're sitting at 3-1. 4-1 sounds really good within the Big East. 10.5 seconds to go. See the tail of the tape from beyond the arc. Heron missed it. Pipkins with the rebound. That felt like a really forced shot from Mustafa Heron.
And you didn't need it yet. Plenty of time to go. You know, you drive baseline and you hope your teammate drifts to the other corner, and now you got something. But that was just, and it wasn't even a three-pointer. You know, that's a long 2. The officials aren't going to just bail you out. You know, you're going to have to make a basketball play. That is not, I guarantee you, what Mike Anderson had in mind in that timeout.
Mustafa Heron is trying to plead his case that he was knocked around by David Duke, but in that situation, it's got to be blatant for an official to give you that whistle. Here it is again. I mean, there's contact, yes, but it's initiated by Heron.
Yeah. You know, it just wasn't a good play. And maybe it was a product of a guy sitting on the bench for so long, now trying to come in and maybe get some of that back in one play.
And you put Pipkins at the line, who has missed just one foul shot all season. Two-possession game now with 7 and change. 5-point lead for Providence. In what has been a really fun game. There's Heron's 3, rimmed in and out, rebound by Pipkins. And Providence hangs on here at the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Listen, a lot of guys did their job for Providence tonight. We talked about Alpha Diallo. I thought, you know, Lawan Pipkins did a terrific job late. Khalif Young, another guy who stepped up. Eddie Clue's got to be happy with this guy. He's proud of him.
Fun one tonight. Providence now 4-1 in conference finals. 63-58 for Donnie Marshall. I'm Jeff Levering. We'll send it back to the guys in the studio.